when you open next year, you will continue with the same magnanimity. Because when senators speak on the floor is when they communicate to the voters who brought us to this floor, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, and I wish everyone Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Senator Professor Margaret Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to support the statement by Senator Tapida Mutinda on the assault of a female passenger by a matatu conductor. Mr. Speaker, when you watch the clip that Senator Mutinda has referred to, it is very worrying where our society is going. You are a passenger, you know your destination and you have given your destination. The matatu passes your destination, you ask why you are being passed, you are removed and you are slapped. It makes no sense. It just makes you wonder whether the tout was really in his normal sense, or he was drunk, intoxicated, or what was wrong. Because it tells a lot about the society. Mr. Speaker, as the committee looks at that statement, I think it is good for the committee to relook at how our transport system is. Where are the Michuki rules? When Michuki established rules on how to operate the matatu sector, we saw uniforms for the first time. My hope is that with this committee, they should actually go check, interview the touts, and see how they look like. Do we still have uniforms? Are people sitting in a very respected manner? Because when the Michuki rules came, people sat in a very respectful manner, because women have had a raw deal in this public transport, Mr. Speaker. They have had opportunities that somebody comes and literally sits on you, and we have had those complaints. People hold people inappropriately in the same matatus. We hope that overloading will come to an end. So we want this statement, Mr. Speaker, to go beyond the Thika incident. Let them interview and let them check whether there is any behavior that is unbecoming even currently. I hope the committee can go to a station and walk incognito into matatus, even before they identify themselves. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this because I think we should be reaching a level where our matatu touts have their names on the uniform, so that we know who they are. In fact, beyond the name and the telephone number, we need to be able to identify them. Because the reason they're behaving the way they're behaving is because they think nobody sees them. Thank God for young people who take videos these days. Any incident that takes place, they take a video. And I want to thank the people who helped this lady, because this one did not go unhelped. At least people ran after this man and were able to nab him. I thank those ones. And I thank the one who did the video. But it is making Kenyans look like watchmen all over. We are busy taking videos everywhere because of our security, but that is a very good thing that's happening, that's happening amongst our people. But can we label these people? Can we have them work like waiters? Because you go to an hotel in this country, because we are a service nation, we do a lot of hotel keeping, and it's very nice when you know the name of the waiter, you know the number of the name of the waiter, just the way we have our police and you know the number of a policeman, and you can report a policeman because you know the number. If they misbehave, you just take the number and give that number and they can be identified. The problem with our touts is that nobody can identify them. And because nobody can identify them, they think they can actually get away with anything until they are napped like this one was napped. But there are so many that are taking place across the country and nobody is able to identify them. I think there is a need for this committee to go deeper and actually help us regulate the sector. We want to call on the Minister of Roads currently to bring back the Michuki rules. We want the Minister to be able to improve on those rules and ensure that our traveling is smooth. because currently we are telling ourselves because of climate change, we need to reduce on our private vehicles, and all of us should be able to enter a matatu and take off with a matatu. We should be able to use any transport, but we must identify who is carrying you. We must be able to identify these touts. We must be able to identify your driver so that you know that this is the driver, you know the name, and you can actually pick the telephone number just in case anything happens to you. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Senator Mutinda for bringing out this issue. All of us were terrified when we saw the incident, but we thank the people, the public, that went after this culprit and were able to arrest him. We really must honor, respect that we have people in this country that still care, because it would have been a disaster if nobody cared for that lady at that point. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this statement, and I ask the committee to go beyond the statement and actually investigate if our sector is still regulated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the time.
Senator Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to comment on the statement by Senator of Migori on the issue of Morocco. And Mr. Speaker, if you look at the statement by Senator Eddy, he is seeking to know the current status of the diplomatic relations between Kenya and Morocco. Mr. Speaker, Morocco indeed is one of the leading economies in Africa, and it is very important that, Mr. Speaker, this situation or relationship between Morocco and Kenya is indeed established both in this House and for the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter which my committee will definitely take it up with the ministry and will be able to update the House, Mr. Speaker, on the position. And Mr. Speaker, as I assure the House that we are going to proceed to engage the ministry and be able to come back to the House, allow me, Mr. Speaker, also to comment on the issue raised by members on the communication between your office and the comment by the PS Foreign Affairs. Mr. Speaker, what I read from the comments of members is that I want to say that Dr. Singoe, the PS, is indeed qualified to hold that office, Mr. Speaker. He was approved by the National Assembly and is in that office, Mr. Speaker, by virtue of that approval. The only challenge, Mr. Speaker, which I see here is he was trying to clarify the true position as to whether Somaliland has an embassy in Kenya, and Mr. Speaker, my only challenge, and I want to agree with members that it is important, Mr. Speaker, that we stick to the proper communication channels that we have, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you made a statement in your office as our Speaker, having received the delegation from Somaliland, and you had some very fruitful discussions, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, what the base could have done, Mr. Speaker, was to reach out to you and clarify areas that he thinks, Mr. Speaker, was not clear as were not correct in your statement. Mr. Speaker, this is the way to go. And nobody should, in this House, Mr. Speaker, give the impression that the PS is unqualified, did the wrong thing by perhaps raising issues on your statement. The only complaint, Mr. Speaker, and I want to say this as the chair of the Committee of Foreign Relations and Defense, is that it is only important that the established communication systems between departments of government, our institutions, Mr. Speaker, should be pursued and followed. The PS could have been able to, Mr. Speaker, either to write to you or call you. And Mr. Speaker, I was also concerned myself, and I was able to reach out to the PS
and I was able to share with him my concern that perhaps it would have been better for him, Mr. Speaker, to reach out to you and clarify whatever was not clear or correct in terms of our relationship between Kenya as a country and Somaliland. Mr. Speaker, nobody should in any way demean the office, Mr. Speaker, of the Senate and that of the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the constitutional framework, the establishment of Parliament and that of the Executive, Mr. Speaker, these institutions, Mr. Speaker, of governance, Parliament, Executive, Judiciary, Mr. Speaker, are independent. And Mr. Speaker, it is only that we have to coordinate issues together on our governance. And so, Mr. Speaker, we should not allow any impression in the public that there is conflict, there is misunderstanding, there is miscommunication between your office, Mr. Speaker, and Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure the House that my committee, again, Mr. Speaker, apart from the issue of Morocco, we are going also to engage the ministry. Because, Mr. Speaker, we must read from the same script as a House, especially on matters diplomacy between us and our neighbors and the countries in our region, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want to assure members that I have listened very keenly to your concerns. And, Mr. Speaker, shortly we are going to invite the ministry, sit with them, and raise your concerns and come back to the House, Mr. Speaker, to give you the assurance that we should be able to hold this office of the Speaker of Senate and the institution of Senate, Mr. Speaker, with the respect required. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, we will move to statements pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B. Honorable Senators, under our standing orders, we are only allowed 30 minutes. We have gone beyond 1 hour. I have 11 chairpersons queuing to make their statement. So we will move to the Chairperson Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. Kindly proceed to make your statement. Yeah, but before that, I had Senator Tabitha had approached me. He had a very urgent Keroche. So proceed to read your two statements, Senator, and thereafter we will move to the statements pursuant to 56-1B.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on the closure of Nakuru War Memorial Hospital and transfer of patients to the Nakuru Provincial General Hospital. In the statement, the committee should inform the Senate about the reasons behind the nighttime transfer of patients from the Nakuru War Memorial Hospital to the Nakuru Provincial General Hospital on 28 October 2023, considering that some patients were on life support and their constitutional right to privacy and access to quality health care, as outlined as the Bill of Rights, were violated. Explain the reason for the prolonged closure of the Nakuru War Memorial Hospital and the control of the premises by the county security officials, despite a court order number 36 of 23, stopping the county government of Nakuru from taking over the management of the hospital pending the determination of the dispute on the management of the hospital, and state plans, if any, by the county government to compensate the hospital for losses incurred during the forceful closure and illegal occupation of its premises. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the second statement. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on the land ownership over the Nakuru War Memorial Hospital in Nakuru County. In the statement, the committee should explain why the county government of Nakuru has been frustrating the proprietor of the hospital whose lease was extended by 50 years via certificate of lease number Nakuru Municipality Block 11/107 issued on 1st March 2021 and where the hospital is located. Elucidate on the motives behind the county government attempt to forcefully take over the hospital despite the owner holding a valid title deed and a certificate of lease issued by the government, and shed light on the commitment by the county government to uphold private land rights for landowners in accordance with Article 64, A, B, and C of the Constitution, which generates land ownership under freehold and leasehold tenures. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Senator Tabitha. The chairperson, Standing Committee on Agriculture, was called out before. Is he around? Okay. Chair, national question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have a statement in relation to the activities of Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration. Pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B for the period from 1st September 2023 to 30th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to activities of Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration for the period from 1st September 2023 to 5th December 2023. Number two, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration is established under Standing Order 2281 of the Senate Standing Orders and is mandated to consider all matters related to the pursuit of national and inter-community cohesion, the equalization of opportunities, and improvement in the quality of life and status of all persons. Regional integration, the East African Legislative Assembly, and the Pan-African Parliament. Number three, Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 28 sittings and deliberated on 5 statements and 1 legislative proposal.
The committee also conducted an inquiry on gender and people with disability representation in various
national and county public institutions. Number 4, Honorable Speaker, furthermore, the committee participated in Peace Week conference in Geneva, Switzerland, held a work plan retreat in Naivasha, Nakuru County, and conducted a county visit to Marsabit County. Statements, Mr. Speaker, sir, 3 statements were ongoing from various reporting periods, and 2 statements were sought for the committee during the current period, and committee considered and concluded 2, and is currently considering the remaining 3 to be concluded before the recess. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is pursuing responses on the following statements. A, statement sought by Senator Mwenda Gataya Mofaya, MP, on the classification of Igamba Ngombe sub-county in Tharaka Nithi County as arid and semi-arid area. ASAL. B, statement sought by Senator Godfrey Asotsi, MP, on recruitment in public service and representation of Kenya's diversity. C, statement sought by Senator Raphael Chimera, MP, regarding the adherence to principle of meritocracy, transparency, fairness, and equal opportunity in recruitment at Competition Authority of Kenya, particularly in recruitment of the Director General of the authority. Mr. Speaker, the committee considered responses for statements and will conclude the report soon after appearance of stakeholders who have already been invited by the committee. Number 7, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee held a joint sitting with the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, Standing Committee on Land Affairs and Human Rights on 14 September 2023 with the National Steering Committee on Peace Building and Conflict Management to deliberate on the review of Kenya peace building architecture. Number 8, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee also conducted a work plan retreat to prioritize legislative business and review its work plan. Further, the committee considered proposed amendments by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, on the NCIC Act legislative proposal for the County Youth Council Bill. Number 9, Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, the committee is scheduled to carry out the following key activities in this session. A, consider the legislative proposal for the County Youth Council Bill with a view of enacting it into law. B, undertake a retreat with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to consider their proposed amendment to NCIC Act. C, to undertake an inquiry on the state of access to public facilities by persons with disability in Kenya. Number 10, Mr. Speaker, sir, going forward, the committee intends to conclude pending legislative business that is before it within this quarter, particularly such business as may be subject to timelines provided under the standing orders or any other law. Number 11, Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and that of the Clerk of the Senate for the continuous support accorded to the committee in undertaking its work. And lastly, I thank the members of the committee for their commitment, and diligence in their contribution to the great achievements of the committee during the period under review. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, Senator Mohamed Chute, Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, once again.
Next is the Chair, Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights Committee. And Chair, as you know, there is a standing order on these statements from committees is just allocated 10 minutes. So if you can be able to... Yeah, sorry, Chairman, national question. Kindly table your statement for records purpose. Then proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will try to limit to the extent of the timeline that you have indicated. And Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights for the months of July to December 2023. Honorable Speaker, during the period under reference, the committee held 42 sittings at which considered various legislative business as set out below. A, legislative proposals. Honorable Speaker, the committee conducted pre-publication scrutiny on 4 legislative proposals which were referred to the committee pursuant to Standing Order 133A of the Senate Standing Orders, and these include the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Raphael Chimera, the County Civic Education Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Esther Okenyuri, the Whistleblower Protection Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Gloria Orwoba, and the County Government State Officers Removal from Office procedure bill sponsored by Senator Thangwa. The committee, Honorable Speaker, conducted and considered of the first three proposals and submitted its comment to the Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate. The consideration of the legislative proposal by Senator Thangwa, MP, is an active engagement before the committee. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered two bills which were committed to the committee, and those are the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 15 of 2023, sponsored by Senator Beth Siango, and the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill 2023, Senate Bills number 37 of 2023, sponsored by Senator Osotsi. The committee, Honorable Speaker, considered and concluded its consideration of the two bills and tabled the report to the floor of this House. On statements, Honorable Speaker, the committee considered three statements during this reporting period, and these are statements by Senator Mohamed Chute on the status of inquiries by EACC, that's Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, in the Asal counties of Wajir, Mandera, Marsabit, and Samburu. Statement by Senator Mohamed Said Chute as well on the status of court construction projects in the Republic of Kenya. And lastly, statement by Senator Hamida Kibwana on gender-based violence incidents in the Republic of Kenya within the political space in Kenya. The committee, Honorable Speaker, considered the first statement. In the case of the other two, we have invited the responses from key stakeholders and will subsequently schedule meetings to consider the statements and report our responses thereon. The petitions, Honorable Speaker, during this period were 5, and all the 5 we have tabled a report. This is the petition by Zipporah Seronei regarding mistreatment, harassment, property laws, and human rights violations made on the family of the late Honorable Jean-Marie Seronei. Petition by Taratisio Kawe concerning the introduction of an amendment to the Constitution of Kenya and other relevant laws on the election of the Deputy Speaker, Deputy President, and Deputy Governors in the Republic of Kenya, and the petition by Muindumbingu Memorial Gelani Association concerning historical injustices suffered by the residents of Ngelani area in Machakos County during the colonial period. The fourth petition by Laban Omusundi concerning the enactment of a clause in the electoral laws that will make sure that all nominated members of county assembly are voters and residents of the respective counties. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, petition by Honorable Simon Lenguya concerning the academic qualifications for election as Speaker of a county assembly, Senate, and the National Assembly. All these reports have been tabled by the committee before the floor of this House. On other activities, Honorable Speaker, over the first 5 months, the committee has hosted and held deliberations with a visiting delegation from the African Court on Human and People's Rights. We've had breakfast session with the ICJ Kenya chapter to deliberate on legislative gaps and challenges inhibiting access to healthcare services and realization of the right to health. We've hosted and held deliberations with visiting delegations of the counterpart committees from the county assemblies of Vihiga, Nakuru, and Nandi. We have also participated in the launch of the Social Transformation Through Access to Justice 2023-2033 Blueprint and presentation of the State of the Judicial and Administration of Justice Annual Report, that is SOJA, for the year 2022-23. We've held a report writing retreat to consider the draft reports on bills and petitions before the committee, which reports I have reported, Honorable Speaker, have since been tabled. And lastly, we've held a working retreat with the Independent Policing Oversight Authority to deliberate on implementation of the report of the Committee on Extrajudicial Killings and Enforced Disappearances in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I wish to thank your office for the support accorded to the committee in undertaking its work, and also wish to acknowledge and appreciate the Secretariat for the support and the commitment that they have given to the committee, which in this case, Mr. Speaker, cannot be left unacknowledged. And I therefore acknowledge the Office of the Clerk for that particular support. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I would love to appreciate the members of this committee for their industry, for their commitment, and also for their support towards the achievement of the achievements that we have achieved as a committee of this particular House. Honorable Speaker, I thank you, and I table the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Jailak. Next is Chair National Security. Chair Trade.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The statement relating to activities of the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism, pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B, for the period commencing 1st July to 2023 to 30th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 56-1B on the standing order to make the statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism for the periods commencing 1st July to 30th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 45 meetings. Bills considered by the committee, Mr. Speaker, during the period under review, the committee considered the following bills: the County Licensing 2022 Uniform Procedure Bill 2022, Senate Bill number 9 of 2022. The County Licensing Uniform Procedure Bill is sponsored by Senator Mariam Omar, MP. The bill seeks to establish a standing uniforms procedure for licensing by county government. Status: the county committee tabled its reports on 12th April 2023. The bill is now at the committee of the whole stage. B, the Startup Bill 2022, Senate Bill number 14 of 2022. The Startup Bill 2022 was read a first time on the 15th February 2023 and is sponsored by Senator Crystal Lasige, MP. It seeks to provide a framework to encourage innovations and incentives the establishment of startups. Status: the committee tabled the report on the in the Senate on the 12th April 2023. The bill is at the committee of the whole. Street Vendors Protections and Livelihood Bill, Senate Bill number 41 of 2023. The Street Vendors Bill was read the first time on the Tuesday, 17th October 2023. It is sponsored by Senator Esther Okenyuri, MP. The status: the bill is currently undergoing a public participation at the committee. Petitions. Petition on the fraudulent shareholding activities and illegal acquisitions of East Africa Breweries Limited, EABL. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, one petition was reported on 30th July 2023 by Senator Wakili Hilary Sigei, MP, on the fraudulent shareholding activities and illegal acquisitions of East Africa Breweries Limited, EABL. The status: the committee has undertaken engagement in the petition by Mr. Nicholas Rono, the Chief Executive Officer, Capital Market Authority, and the Competition Authority of Kenya. The committee has scheduled a meeting with the Commissioner General, Kenya Revenue Authority, on Thursday, which is now today. It was supposed to be today, 2023, to consider the petition. County visits. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period on February 24th and Saturday 25th November 2023, the committee undertook the inspections visit to Busia and Bungoma counties as follows: Busia and Malaba, one stop border posts to access the state of cross-border trade between Kenya and Uganda, and further inspect the state of the order border posts, visit and engagements at the new Nawesa Industrial Park in Busia County to inspect the implementation status of the county aggregated industrial park. Visit to Kakapel Cultural Center in North Steso in Busia County to assess the visibility of the cultural shrine of the promotions of tourism and cultural heritage. Meeting with the members of the Metropolitan Teacher Circle in Bungoma as a follow-up in the statement that was requested by Senator David Wakoli, MP, on the status of Metropolitan National Circle in Bungoma County. The committee is following up on the submission of the memorandum review in the stakeholders, and the committee also undertook the inspections visit of KNTC warehouses on Thursday, on 30th November 2023, following a statement by regarding the productions and importations of cooking oil in Kenya. Statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee considered a total of 31 statements per the schedule attached in the annex herein, which has 10 statements has been concluded, and international travels undertaken by the committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee undertook one international travel following invitation by the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry to participate in the trade mission to United Arab Emirates on 5th to 11th November 2023 in Dubai as a build-up towards COP28. Priorities, activities for the next quarter. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee will prioritize the following business in the next quarter. The committee to undertake a report writing on the following petition, the petition on the fraudulent shareholding activities and illegal acquisitions of East African Breweries Limited, EABL, the Street Vendors Protections and Livelihood Statement, Bill number 41 of 2023. The committee to undertake an inspections visit to Embu County to engage in the affected Muguka transporters and further hold a workshops in CCMs responsible for trade and county of Mombasa, Nairobi, Garissa, and Embu to review the matter on his access levies charged in Muguka cargo transporters. The following stakeholders engagement with teachers affected by Metropolitan National Circle, the committee will schedule to engage with the State Department for Cooperatives, the Circle Society Regulatory Authority, SASRA, the Teacher Service Commission on the refund on the shares and deposits and withdrawal of teachers for the said Circle in Bungoma County. The committee is scheduled to meet with the management of Kenya Airways Airport Authority on the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority on the statement requested by Senator Samson Cherargei, Mr. MP, regarding the status of our operations and financial status of the Kenya Airways. The committee to undertake a county visit on access, the implementation and status of the special economic zones and the county integrated industrial parks in the 47 counties. And finally, the committee to undertake a committee initiated inquiries in the activities of Kenya National Trading Corporations in the importations and of essential commodities, edible oil, rice, sugar, and fertilizer during the year of 2023. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and your office and the secretariats and the members of the committee for enabling us and support the support for the committee. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
Thank you, Chair. Next is the chairperson, a standing committee. Oh, kindly table the report, Chair Trade. Chairs, remember to table the reports.
Thank you.
National security, defense, and foreign relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations for the period between 1st of July and 30th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, I arise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B to make a statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations for the period commencing 1st of July to 30th November 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 27 sittings, considered 7 legislative proposals, 25 statements, 4 petitions, and 1 resolution from Account Assembly. Further, the committee, jointly with the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security, considered a request for approval of deployment of officers of the National Police Service, officers to the Multinational Security Support, MSS, mission for Haiti. The committee also held 2 visits and hosted 1 foreign delegation. Mr. Speaker, in respect of the legislative proposals, the committee considered the Fire and Rescue Services Professional Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Sheikh Mohammed Abbas, MP, and the bill, Mr. Speaker, seeks to establish a regulatory and institutional framework for the fire and rescue services professionals to provide for the registration, licensing, and training of the fire and rescue services professionals. This is aimed at providing uniform standards for the regulation of fire and rescue services professionals across all counties and to set professional standards for all fire and rescue services professionals. The committee recommended that the bill proceed for publication. Mr. Speaker, the committee is also sponsoring the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2023, which seeks to remedy the misinterpretation of functions between the National Service Police Commission and the Inspector General of the National Police Service. The committee is yet to interact with the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration, and the Inspector General of Police to receive their views on the bill prior to its publication. The consideration of the Disaster Risk Management Bill 2023, also sponsored by the committee, is ongoing. The committee shall proceed to publish them. In respect of bills, the committee considered the Public Holidays Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Karungu Thangwa, MP. The committee conducted public participation on the bill and received 1 submission from the public. The committee tabled its report on the bill on 22nd of November 2023 and recommended that the bill does not proceed to the next stage in the legislative process. Mr. Speaker, with respect to statements before the committee, a total of 25 statements were sought from the committee during the period under review as annexed to this statement. The committee has received a total of 10 responses of the statements sought, which was shared with the respective senators, and awaits responses from 15 statements from the relevant ministries. Mr. Speaker, with respect to petitions, the committee completed its consideration of the petition concerning the recognition and remuneration of the village elders under the Nyumba Kumi initiative and tabled a report on the same on 31st of October 2023. The committee is currently considering the following petitions. Petition concerning the rampant theft of livestock in Kajiado, Kajiado East and Kajiado West sub-counties and Kajiado County at large. Petition also on the state of insecurity in Turkana County. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, petition concerning persistent insecurity, cat rustling, loss of lives and property in Loroki and Malaso division of Samburu County. The committee, Mr. Speaker, has met with the petitioners and is meeting with the various stakeholders, including the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior and National Administration, and the Inspector General of Police, so as to conclude on these petitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is considering a resolution of the County Assembly of Elgeyo Marakwet on measures to curb banditry in Kerio Valley. The committee visited Elgeyo Marakwet County on Friday, 10th of November 2023, and met with the governor and the county assembly. The committee is scheduled to meet with the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior, National Administration, and the IG so as to finalize its reports on the resolution. Following a request from the Director of Criminal Investigations, the committee visited the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, DCI, Academy in South Sea, Nairobi, on 23rd November 2023 to assess the current status of the facility with a view to making recommendations for the better use of the facility. The committee awaits the submission of supplementary information from the DCI for completion of its report. Mr. Speaker, during the period under review, the committee, jointly with the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security, considered a request for the approval of the deployment of officers of the National Police Service to the Multinational Security Support MSS mission for Haiti. The committees concluded public participation on the request and met with the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior, and the Inspector General of Police. The committee tabled its report on both houses of Parliament on Wednesday, 15th November 2023, and recommended the approval of the deployment of the officers of the National Police Service to the Multinational Security Support Mission for Haiti. The National Assembly and the Senate both approved the deployment on Thursday, 16th of November 2023. Mr. Speaker, the committee met with the Japanese ambassador to Kenya on Wednesday, 29th November 2023. The committee explored areas of mutual cooperation and sought to strengthen relations between the two countries. A working engagement to foster and strengthen bilateral relations, including the incorporation of senators to a Kenya-Japan parliamentary group and engagement with the counterpart committee of the Japan House of the Councillors is underway. Mr. Speaker, going forward, the committee intends to, 1, meet the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Interior, National Administration, and the Inspector General to conclude the legislative business pending before the committee. Visit Kajiado County to receive submissions on the petition before the committee, and finally, complete its consideration of committee-sponsored bills for publication. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. Security. Next is the Chairperson, Loans, Transportation and Housing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1) B to make a statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing for the period commencing 1st July 2023 to 6th December 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing is established under Standing Order 228(3) of the Senate Standing Orders and is mandated to consider all matters relating to transport, roads, public works, housing, construction, and maintenance of roads, rails, and buildings, seaports, and communication. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under consideration, the committee conducted the following business. A. Committee meetings. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee held 21 sittings. Bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee considered the Public Transport Motorcycle Regulation Bill 2023 that is sponsored by Senator Dr. Boni Kalwale, MP, and was read the first time in the Senate on Tuesday, 17th October 2023, and thereafter committed to the committee for consideration. The committee, Mr. Speaker, received memoranda on the bill from 5 stakeholders, which it is currently reviewing. C. Legislative proposal. The legislative proposal on the Street Naming and Property Addressing System Bill 2023 that is sponsored by Senator Fatuma Dulo, CBS MP, was referred to the committee for scrutiny on 27th November 2023. The committee is scheduled to consider it on Thursday, which was supposed to happen today, Mr. Speaker, 7th December 2023, but owing to the fact that we are here seated today, we carried forward to the next meeting. Petitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, 3 petitions have so far been referred to the committee as follows. Petition concerning public transport in Lake Victoria between Fangano Island in Suba Central Sub-County and Mbita, Homa Bay County. The petition concerning public transport in Lake Victoria between Fangano Island in Suba Central Sub-County and Mbita, Homa Bay County, was presented to the Senate on 18th October 2022 by Senator Moses Kajwang, MP, and committed to the committee. The committee met with the petitioners, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Roads and Transport, and Kenya Ports Authority. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the ferry is under construction and the ministry has given part of the money for that work. The only thing remaining for the committee, Mr. Speaker, is to visit the Fangano Island and thereafter draft the report for submission in this House. Petition concerning eviction and demolition of Buxton Estate, Mvita constituency. Mr. Speaker, this petition was presented on 1st March 2023. The committee considered the petition and invited several stakeholders and tabled its report on the petition on 2nd November 2023, meaning this matter was concluded, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, petition concerning title deeds for properties bought at Jamii Estate, Kisaju, Kajiado County. Mr. Speaker, this petition was committed to the committee on 14th March 2023. The petitioners bought houses and shops on an off-plan housing scheme from Jamii Charitable Trust, but have never been issued with title deeds to house built in Jamii Estate since the year 2008 to date. The petitioners, therefore, sought the intervention of the Senate to have them issued with the title deeds for their properties. The committee met and received submissions from the petitioners, Kajiado County Government, Business Registration Services, State Department for Lands and Physical Planning, and Kingdom Bank. Mr. Speaker, we are yet to conclude on that issue, but we are almost. The 4th petition, Mr. Speaker, petition concerning construction of a pedestrian bridge at Chiromo. Mr. Speaker, the committee considered the petition and tabled its report on the petition on 31st October 2023, meaning that matter has been concluded. Statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, 51 statements were referred to the committee for consideration, out of which 4 statements were considered and concluded. In addition, during the period, 11 statements were considered but not concluded because the committee sought supplementary information. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee further sought responses of the 36 statements from the government agencies. Some of the responses have been received but not considered, and other responses are yet to be received. Inquiries. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is undertaking an inquiry into the urban regeneration and renewal program of the county government of Nairobi, which intends to demolish 13 estates, majority of which are in Eastlands area, Nairobi County, and redevelop the estates under the affordable housing program. The committee is concerned with the manner in which the county government of Nairobi is undertaking the program without carrying out meaningful participation by the residents of the targeted estates and the issuance of threats to the officials of the estates, residents associations who have raised issues with the manner in which the program was being carried out. It is more concerning that despite numerous invitations of the governor of Nairobi County to apprise the committee on the program, he has consistently failed to honor the invitations, giving insufficient reason for his non-appearance. The committee will continue to pursue the matter to its conclusion. Again, Mr. Speaker, we were to meet today, but owing to the fact that we are here, we have deferred that meeting to the next sitting. Messages. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee received a message for consideration jointly with the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources. The message was from the County Assembly of Nyandarua regarding a resolution by the County Assembly to petition the Senate to consult with and initiate approval of the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA, the Kenya Forest Service, KFS, and the Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS, on the Ihide Abadea Forest Kahuroko Donyonjeru Road construction and tamaking project. The Joint Committee awaits the outcome of the report on comments on the environmental impact assessment and environmental social impact assessment study in the proposed construction of the road. Madam Speaker, sir, Madam Speaker, stakeholders' engagement. The committee attention was drawn to the high number of road accidents that claimed over 4,500 deaths in the year 2022. As a result, the committee engaged stakeholders, both from the public and the private sector, that are in road safety in an effort to forge a common plan of action that will help reduce the high number of road fatalities. The engagement with more stakeholders will continue in the next reporting period. Finally, Madam Speaker, parliamentary diplomacy. Madam Speaker, sir, the committee held engagement talks with the Ambassador of Japan, His Excellency Okaniwa Ken, on a number of infrastructural development projects that the government of Japan is financing through the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. The committee also inspected a Japan-funded community road empowerment core project, which has improved a 26-kilometer rural access road in Meru County using a technology called Do-Know. Such low-cost and labor-intensive road projects provide opportunities for county governments to effectively maintain the over 120,000 kilometers of county government roads. Challenges. Madam Speaker, the non-appearance of witnesses when invited delay the operation of the committee in consideration of other business. The committee has had to issue summons
for appearance of some governors. Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank you, the Speaker, the Secretariat, my fellow senator, for making it possible for the committee to execute its mandate.
Yours, Senator Karungo Wathangwa, Chairman, Roads, Transportation and Housing. Thank you.
The Chairperson, Select Committee on County Public Accounts Committee. Senator Cherarke.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is statement relating to the activities of the Senate County Public Accounts Committee, pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry, I don't, Madam Speaker, during our deliberation, we noticed that there is a challenges of filling in the internal audit committees in counties, where they play a crucial role in effective of governance and risk management, such as internal control, risk management. Madam Speaker, this, however, the challenge of attracting qualified individuals to serve in internal audit committees persist, mainly due to the often lower salaries offered as prescribed by SRC. To address this issue, SRC may need to reconsider their compensation with structures and offer competitive remuneration to ensure our internal committees, Madam Speaker, are able to function. Madam Speaker, during the interrogation of the various county entities during this period, the committee noted that most entities failed to disclose their contingent liabilities in the financial statements. County governments do not need to recognize a contingent liability, but it should disclose details of any contingencies, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the committee also observed that most of the county entities have incurred huge legal fees, and they include the county executive of Uasin Gishu, Machakos, Nairobi City County, and the Machakos County Assembly, running into billions contracted lawyers and their firms as legal fees. The committee has observed that some of the county entities are deliberately not utilizing the office of the county attorney, which was instrumental in passing in the last session, and that is why they like outsourcing legal services. Additionally, the committee observed that counties have failed to explore alternative dispute resolution to try and resolve and to save billions. Madam Speaker, the committee continues, and it is a concern in the high interest in the unhealthy size and growth of wage bills in many of the counties. In the last quarter of the committee wrote to 7 counties to explain the measures they have taken to reduce the wage bill to recommended 35%. Threshold and plans to write and invite more county executives during the 3rd session to deliberate on the issue in a bid to ensure fiscal prudence. Madam Speaker, the issue of wage bill in counties, almost all of them are violated. Madam Speaker, the committee undertook a county visit through Senate Mashinani, for example, in Turkana, and it is notable, to county headquarters, governors, official residents, Lord of Fire Station, speakers, residents, and the new Turkana County Assembly Chamber. Madam Speaker, the committee observed the county head governors and other residents that we visited had either stalled or taken too long to complete. Full payments on projects and contractors were not on site. The committee directed the EACC to take interest on the projects, especially in Turkana County. Further, the controller of budget to also question and scrutinize requisition relating to the highlighted projects in Turkana County. Madam Speaker, adopted report of the finance and budget on the county government's infrastructure projects, comprising county executive headquarters offices, assembly chambers and offices, and county state offices, residents that cap the costs of constructing the governor's residences at 45 million, and speaker's residence at a cost of 35 million. However, the committee observed that most of the counties already awarded contracts that had gone beyond this sum. We have therefore directed the controller of budget to stop release of funds meant for reconstruction, because the governor's residence should cost a maximum of 45 million and speaker's residence at 35 million. Madam Speaker, there's 9 points. The committee observed there was rampant voiding of payments by county governments. The approved cash plans by controller of budget are not adhered contrary to Section 22 of the COB Act 2016. The committee recommends the COB to institute mechanisms to enforce compliance of approved cash plans by counties. Further, the committee recommends that the Senate Delegated Legislation Committee fast-tracks the consideration and adoption of controller of budget regulations for better carrying out and giving effect to any provision of the Act. Madam Speaker, the committee has met and interrogated many county assemblies. However, most of the county assemblies are still grappling with poor asset management. Majority of county assemblies do not possess titles to the land on which assemblies sit. The committee has since been informed that it has been established by Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, IBEC, to validate assets and liabilities inherited from defunct and local authorities, and expected to report back between January and March 2024. And when the report is ready, we shall bring it. Madam Speaker, point number 11, the Senate, through the County Allocation Revenue, has over years increased budgetary ceilings to county assemblies, way above the recommended 7% threshold under the PMF Act 2012. In some cases, assemblies have received as much as 16% of the county revenue, for example, Kirinyaga, while on the other hand, assemblies still receive less than 7%, for example, Mombasa. Madam Speaker, the committee also fast-tracking of legislative and administrative measures, county assembly financial autonomy, and I know that amendment has been read, the first reading, so that we can give most of the county assemblies financial autonomy in their work. Madam Speaker, point number 12, and it's of concern of the country, is pending bills continue to be a big problems. Madam Speaker, first quarter of the third session, the committee shall convene a meeting with Auditor of General Office, Controller of Budget, Council of Governors, National Treasury, and EACC to define actionable measures to ensure integrity and completeness of accounts payable across the counties, which continue, and pending bills continue to affect most of the counties. Madam Speaker, point number 13, during the interrogation of OAG reports, we noticed non-remittance of pension deductions to the relevant pension schemes. And therefore, the total outstanding pension liabilities accrued as submitted by the COB indicates a total of whopping 85 billion as at 31st March that has not been remitted to the relevant pension schemes. Point number 14, Madam Speaker, on human resource issues affecting 47 counties, the committee observed that the Secretary to the County Public Service Board, by qualification, must be a certified secretary and not certified human resource practitioner. The committee observed there is a lacuna in law. The committee noted where there are strict requirements in management of financial resources in the counties, there is a leisurely approach in managing human resources. It was observed that the qualification requirement for those responsible for managing human resources were not strangely spelled out compared to those managing financial resources. And therefore, Madam Speaker, we shall bring an amendment to that. Finally, in conclusion, I wish to thank the members of the committee, the members of the committee and the dedicated secretariat and your office, Madam Speaker, for the support and dedicated who usually sit for long hours. Madam Speaker, this is one of the committees you can sit the whole day, running with numbers, grappling with numbers, and therefore we are working hard to reduce the backlog of audit reports. The committee will use various strategies, including subcommittees in county assemblies, merger of financial years, to shift to a more proactive mandate and to ensure the Senate in concurrent its intervention. And I want to call upon members of this House to be always, when the reports of various counties are brought for adoption, to look at it and debate and give suggestions to how we can improve the work of County Public Accounts Committee. Madam Speaker, with those very many remarks, allow me to table the report of this committee. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Do we have any representative for the Chairperson, Select Committee on Public Investments and Special Funds Committee? That statement is deferred. Any person for the Chairperson, Select Committee on Delegated Legislation? That statement is deferred. We now move on to two statements by the Senator for Lamu, Senator Kamau. Senator Sige.
Thank you, Speaker. Just wanted to clarify, Speaker, if we will be able to have a chance to comment on the statements read, the reports made by the chairs of the different committees.
Because of time, it may not be possible. So I don't think we will have that time.
Chair, thank you. Speaker, thank you for that. Though there is a real burning issue that I have on the report by JLAC committee, and I wish to table it, Chair, as this is the last session for the year.
I have already ruled, Senator Hasige. Thank you.
No, but we've not been given time to speak on the reports. We've been waiting.
Senator Lamu, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transport and Housing concerning maintenance of the Lamu-Gariseni Road. In the statement, the committee should identify the contractor responsible for the maintenance of Lamu-Gariseni Highway and outline the specific tasks encompassed within the scope of work for the works assigned to the contractor. Number 2, clarify if the contractor is obligated by the terms of the contract to perform bush clearing along both sides of the road, and if so, to what extent. And number 3, assess whether the Ministry of Roads and Transport has established mechanisms to guarantee and to maintain activities aligned within the stipulated standards. Madam Speaker, while on my feet, I have another statement. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and National Resources regarding the resettlement of residents occupying land intended for the establishment of a power generation plant in Lamu County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, indicate whether the government has issued the title deed for the 3,400 acres of land in Bahar Ward, Mpeketoni to Kenwind Kenya Limited for the establishment of power generation plant in Lamu County. Number 2, explain the fate of the residents occupying the land, considering that the county had subdivided it and intended to issue title deeds to approximately 2,000 families who have resided there for an extended period of time. Number 3, clarify whether the resettlement plan was executed in accordance with the law, outlining steps taken to guarantee the affected individuals proper resettlements and compensation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Chairperson, Select Committee on Public Investments and Special Funds, quickly make your statement in about 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to make a statement on the activities of the CPIC Committee, pursuant to Standing Order number 56-1B, and I will be very quick, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, during this period, 1st July 2023 to 8th December 2023, we have held a record of 66 meetings, either within the presence of Parliament or outside. And in these meetings, we handled 3 categories of issues. The first issue was consideration of the audit report, the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of water companies in all the 47 counties, where, Madam Speaker, we handled about 80 water service providers in counties that appeared before us. Madam Speaker, some of these reports have been tabled here in this House. We have so far tabled the report in relation to Vihiga County, Bomet County, Kisii and Nyamira counties, Kisumu County, Kwale County, Nyeri County, and Wajir County. And this is part of the order paper that we have for today, motion on the reports for those counties. Madam Speaker, we are working very swiftly to handle the remaining accounts, reports for tabling in the first quarter of next year, 2024. Madam Speaker, the third thing that we have handled as a committee was an inquiry into the matter of non-remittance of pension deduction by counties, where the counties owe pension funds in excess of 80 billion shillings as a result of non-remittance of pension funds. And in this case, we have managed to have an engagement with the National Treasury, with the Kenya Revenue Authority, Control of Budget, NSSF, Retirement Benefit Authority, and the two pension fund. That is a LAB fund, CPF LAB Trust. We also had a very big stakeholder engagement, which served as a public participation session in Mombasa. And Madam Speaker, the report is ready for tabling this afternoon. And this report is going to be one of the most important reports that this Senate has ever produced, and giving direction on how to handle this problem of non-remittance of over 80 billion shillings by counties. Madam Speaker, the third thing, in the process of examining the audit report for water companies, we noted there were various cross-cutting issues affecting the water sector, and such as assets and liability transfers, the role of the Regional Waterworks Development Agency in water provision, and the huge loans that have been undertaken by the national government through these regional waterworks. Madam Speaker, as a result, we agreed to conduct an inquiry into these issues, and we invited all the players in the water sector, including the regional waterworks agencies, Ministry of Water, WASREB, WASPA, and others. And Madam Speaker, we are only remaining with engaging the Council of Governors, the Water Committee of the Council of Governors, for us to complete the report, which we will table in this House. Madam Speaker, in that regard, I have seen on the order paper that we have a bill on the water bill. I would request, with the indulgence of this House, that report that I'm talking about is going to be very informative in driving the debate on the water bill, which I found to be unconstitutional, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I said, we have also tabled those reports. Madam Speaker, the committee has now embarked on consideration of the audit report for special funds. And we have over 200 special funds in counties. We have so far handled 7 counties so far. We are going to look into special funds in all the 47 counties. And we are noting serious issues in the management of special funds in counties. And these are possible avenues for corruption in the counties. Madam Speaker, the funds like bursary funds, these are funds which are having challenges, car loan and mortgage scheme fund, the social protection funds, emergency fund, and many other funds like the Youth and the Women Enterprise Fund, which are having challenges. Madam Speaker, so far, we have had engagements with Bomet County, Kakamega County,
Senator
Taveta.
Sotsi, we agree.
Yeah, I'm finalizing, Madam Speaker. Taita Taveta, Trans Nzoia, Kwale, Migori, Nandi. And some of the issues emerging, as I finalize, Madam Speaker, is a failure by the fund managers of this fund to submit copies of their quarterly financial report, the control of budget, as required by the law. Counties not submitting financial statements of the funds to the Office of the Auditor General. Counties not limited on the number of funds that they can set up. Some counties have over 10 funds. Counties establishing funds but not providing resources. These are some of the challenges that are there that we'll be able to define in our report. Madam Speaker, the committee is expected to have, in the new year, a stakeholders engagement with the water sector players in the first week of February 2024 to finalize the report which we will table in this House. And my expectation, Madam Speaker, is that this report is really going to give this House the direction on how to engage on matter of water, which, as you know, is largely devolved. Madam Speaker, I submit and I table the report for the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee. I thank my members for the support. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I table.
Next order. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, sir. Madam Speaker, sorry. I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1 to hereby present to the Senate the status of the business before the House. I'll try and really be brief because I can see time is far much spent.
Order, Senator Cherarke, can you consult with the
Thank you.
Senior Counsel in Lawtons, please?
Madam, I was saying I'll try and be brief in my statement because I can see time is far much spent and we still have to do an adjournment motion, Madam Speaker, that will be moving in the next few minutes. Madam Speaker, as you are aware, today, Thursday, the 7th of December, is our last sitting of this session with the Senate calendar for the second session. Honorable Senators will also note that at yesterday's sitting, the Senate passed a resolution to alter the hours of sitting to hold today, sitting at 9:30 to 1, which in effect suspended the afternoon sitting. As such, therefore, there will be no afternoon sitting today, and the House will proceed on recess today from 1 p.m. Madam Speaker, the beginning of the second session in February 2023 was a fairly tumultuous with divided Senate along party lines following the very hotly contested general election. It was impossible to transact legislative business. Today, as I stand here, Madam Speaker, I'm extremely happy that as the session wore on, the two sides of the political divide have closed ranks and we have begun to appreciate each other for the common good of our country. This has resulted in the passing of very crucial legislative business. With respect to bills, the House of the Senate has a total of 59 bills have so far been published, out of which 5 have been enacted into law. 8 have been concluded and have been referred to the National Assembly for consideration. 31 bills are pending conclusion at various stages in the Senate. 6 bills are undergoing concurrence pursuant to Article 110 of the Constitution. 5 bills have been denied concurrence. 2 bills were negative at the second reading stage. 2 bills were withdrawn by the respective movers. Madam Speaker, in terms of petition, the House has so far received 44, 22 of which have been concluded and the reports have been tabled, and 22 are pending conclusion by the respective standing committees. That's particularly impressive. But as Speaker, I want to single out, like we did last week, the Committee on Justice and Human Rights Affairs, which has concluded 8 petitions and brought them before the House. I commend them. The chair has just left the floor a few minutes ago. With regards to motion, 89 motions have been filed, out of which 6 are pending conclusion. Honorable Senators will note that all pending motions, unfortunately, will lapse at the rouse of the House this afternoon. The procedure of questions continue to be used by many senators to seek issues that affect the people that they represent. There are a total of 90 questions that have been filed. Out of these, 51 have been responded to by the Cabinet Secretaries. This is now with specific reference to questions to Cabinet Secretaries. Out of the 90 that have been filed, 51 have been responded to. 3 have been withdrawn and 36 are pending. I am particularly impressed by the decision or by the minority side, Madam Speaker, to join us eventually in this very important exercise. It took a while from our colleagues from the minority side to appreciate this important avenue that we use to table questions and ask Cabinet Secretaries to respond before us and follow the same with supplementary questions. I'm impressed and looking forward to this coming Wednesday's next session, Madam Speaker, where we'll have the full House actually, unlike the scenes that have been here the past few months. I also must celebrate, Madam Speaker, the Senate Mashinani program that we held from the 25th to the 29th in Lodwar, Turkana County. When, Madam Speaker, we made a decision at the SPC to take this program to the far-flung corners of the county, I could not have been more impressed than what I saw in Turkana, where senators sat for the full length of that particular period and interacted with residents. Of course, we got to get feedback. I saw people complain that we didn't get to interact with them as much as possible. But over and above, many of the residents of Turkana appreciate there are things that we are able to answer to them. As we move towards the next phase of the program and next year deciding, it is my proposition to the House that we still stick with proposals of taking this program to the so-called forgotten corners of this country. Aside from the legislative agenda, the Senate participated in the Devolution Stakeholders Forum and Devolution Conference was in Gishu as well. The lessons learned from these two events continue to shape the discourse on how the Senate undertakes its mandate. The Devolution Conference was particularly instrumental in highlighting crucial areas of legislation, including on-source revenue for county governments to support devolved functions, housing, planning and urban development, investment in counties, strengthening food systems, and empowerment of youth continue to be programs that were highly discussed. The Senate also, while with regards to Turkana, Madam Speaker, the Senate sought to promote the role of the work of Senate in general, highlight the existing new opportunities, and engage in legislative process, develop and strengthen partnerships at the county level. The Senate and its committees were able to interact with the people. Madam Speaker, as we come to the conclusion of the second session, I would like to express my gratitude, by extension that of the Senate leadership, to all the honorable senators of this House for their unwavering dedication and commitment to serve the people of Kenya. The past months have been filled with robust debates, diligent committee work, and passage of crucial legislative business that will shape our next agenda. Madam Speaker, it goes without saying, and I've said this to colleagues even in our informal sessions at the Senators' Lounge, that I don't recall a particular long recess that we concluded without reconvening for one reason or the other. So I want to request senators, including my friend Eddie, that even as you enjoy yourself during the recess, keep your phone open and keep checking your messages. Duty may call any given time. In fact, county assemblies have a knack of recalling this House just days to Christmas with business that is brought here. Last year was one such case. It is my hope that no governor falls into trouble with MCAs and warrant the recall of this House so that at least we can rest. Senators have worked extremely hard the last few months, and that's something that we must appreciate. But you will recall, and you do know, members, that there is very important business that we were not able to conclude, including equalization fund, which we have not been able to conclude on as we go on recess today. We have not also been able to conclude on the county government additional allocation. I know we have formed a mediation committee, but they are yet to meet because the National Assembly have specific issues that they have raised with the Council of Governors, which they first want to be addressed before the mediation exercise can commence. Therefore, it goes without saying, Madam Speaker, that I know for a fact that we shall reconvene somewhere along this long recess period, Madam Speaker, because if not for anything, just to consider those bills so that we can do what we need to do so that we can have funds go to our counties. Lastly, of course, is interventions that we need to make on the state of the economy, and we understand the challenges that we are facing, Madam Speaker. I would have said many things about the situation as it is. I think I had alluded to some of the comments that I mentioned earlier, particularly on the issue of privatization. Madam Speaker, it goes that we've had handled our economy, despite finding it in a very difficult situation, better than at least all the other four that have served a full term. It still remains to be a matter of debate what will happen, because the current president has only served 1 year. So we will judge him after he has concluded his term, Madam Speaker. This privatization exercise that many people are raising concern about, many of them are not genuine about it. You will know that this is actually a brainchild of President Mwai Kibaki. If you agree with his school of thought and how we need to manage our economy, you cannot hail Mwai Kibaki and not hail the privatization exercise. I know people have concerns about how the exercise is to be conducted. That's why I'm calling upon leaders to now take the opportunity that has been provided by the National Treasury to give their views on the privatization exercise. Instead of
When wananchi are out there saying, oh, don't sell KICC, then you are also here saying, don't sell KICC. Yet nobody has said KICC is up for sale. When you speak about concession, concession is a practice, Madam Speaker. First of all...
But majority, would you kindly just conclude on your statement and then engage that on the adjournment?
Okay,
on the
okay,
adjournment
because in the interest of time. Madam
Yes,
Speaker, I appreciate. I want to wish honorable senators a happy Jamhuri Day, a Merry Christmas, and a prosperous 2024. I thank you all, colleague senators, for your participation in the House. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 8, the Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Public Service Values and Principles Act and to provide for connected purposes. Order number 9, the National Construction Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2022, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the National Construction Authority Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Statutory Instruments Act.
Honorable members will now move to order number 32.
Order number 32, motion, adjournment of the Senate.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, that's a motion actually. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 31.3 that the Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, the 13th of February, 2024. Madam Speaker, you'd appreciate that this is our last sitting. I have mentioned earlier in my statement that we actually moved a motion yesterday to amend the calendar and agreed that our colleagues from the sporting department need to prepare because many of them are leaving this afternoon for Kigali. Some have actually left, and therefore it will be important that we transact. It's unfortunate we were not able to conclude on the business we intended to, but be that as it may, I have already mentioned that we will come back. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I know many colleagues want to say one or two things about this before we adjourn. Therefore, I want to request Senator Kinyua to second the motion.
Who is seconding? Okay.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Speaker, na chukua fursa hii kuunga mkono mswada huu wa kuahirisha kikao. Bwana Spika, mwaka huu kwa sababu Seneti imekuwa na mambo mengi ambayo imetekeleza, Bwana Spika, ikumbuke kwamba Seneti hii walienda mpaka Turkana mashinani, Bwana Spika. Wamefanya vikao mahali kwingi, Bwana Spika. Na vile vile, Bwana Spika, tulienda mpaka kaunti ya Uasin Gishu tukiendelea na majukumu ambayo tumepewa kufanya, Bwana Spika. Na Spika, Seneti hii kwa sababu wamekuwa na yale majukumu mengi, Bwana Spika, ni vizuri waweze kwenda katika sehemu zao ambazo wanawakilisha kwenda kupumzika, Bwana Spika, alafu warejelee Spika, warejelee masuala yao mwaka ujao kwa kasi zaidi, Bwana Spika. Spika, ikumbuke wazi ya kwamba mwaka huu ndio nchi hii ilipata kiangazi, Bwana Spika. Vile vile mwaka huu Spika, nchi hii kulikuwa na maandamano, Bwana Spika. Spika, ikumbuke mwaka huu tena ndio tumepata mafuriko, Spika. Kwa hivyo yote tisa kumi, Spika, ni ya kwamba ni vizuri angalau Seneti hii ichukue likizo waweze kuangalia hayo mambo yote kwa kindani, Bwana Spika, na mwaka ujao tunapokuja tuweze kuangazia sheria ambazo tayari zinaletwa katika bunge hii, na kushukuru maseneta ambao wamechangia. Speaker, kwa sababu kuna ndugu zangu wanataka kuchangia na kuongea mengi, sitaki kuongea zaidi ya hapo, lakini niwatakie Wakenya Krismasi yenye mafanikio na vile vile mwaka mpya ambao watapata mambo mengi ambayo yataweza kuleta nchi hii yetu mbele. Bwana Speaker, nashukuru.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that pursuant to Standing Order 31.3, the Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, 13th February 2024. Senator Matthew.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm rising on Standing Order 111 on limitation of debate. Honorable Speaker, it's only 20 minutes to 1 o'clock, and I know a few colleagues would want to say something on this particular motion. So I would want to propose that we limit debate to 3 minutes. I ask Senator Edith second.
Madam Speaker, I think that it is only fair that all members get time to share on this. Therefore, the proposal by Senator Matthew is in order, and I do second.
It is so agreed. Senator Uruba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to, first of all, thank my party, United Democratic Alliance, for nominating me to come and sit in this house. It's been a wonderful 1 year learning the ropes of this house. I want to also thank my party leader, William Samoei Ruto, for having nominated me as well for this position. Madam Speaker, it's been 1 year of me serving in this house in capacity as a vice chair of the ICT committee, where I highlighted the issues of data protection. I proposed the bill of the Konza Technopolis bill, and in that time, I was also able to set up a caucus for women MPs in ICT. Madam Speaker, I have been privileged to serve in the National Cohesion Committee as well as the Delegated Legislation Committee. And in my time there, I have learned a lot and I've been able to represent women in the best way possible. And Madam Speaker, one of the things that I would like to highlight and give progress is the issue of period poverty. As you all know, in February 14th, I had the accident here in the Senate. And Madam Speaker, just from that moment, it was an opportunity for us as legislators to put into motion what we were sent here to do, Madam Speaker. And I'm happy to report that the bill on free sanitary pads is in motion and is set to come in the next session for the first reading, Madam Speaker. It's out for public participation. Madam Speaker, I want to say that I have been very excited and I continue to be excited to serve my party in this capacity. And Madam Speaker, as we conclude this year, I think one of the lessons that I have learned and I continue to learn is that as I represent the women in this Senate, I will continue to speak up on the issues that actually affect the women. And even as we are closing, going for our Christmas holidays, as we observe the 16 days of activism, the GBV, gender-based violence, Madam Speaker, I want to urge my fellow senators, especially the men, that in this festive season, Madam Speaker, the love language that women would like to hear in this festive season and to continue is not violence. Our love language is we want to be loved, we want to be appreciated, and as we continue to observe these 16 days of gender-based violence, Madam Speaker, we want you to go out and share the love. So, Merry Christmas to everyone, happy festive season, and keep safe so that we can see you in the next session. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Professor Ojenda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
In seconding the motion, I must allow the members of this House who, through one long year, have not only contributed to the motions before this House, but have made a lot of steps in ensuring that this House functions the entire year. Majority Leader Aaron Cheriot has steered this House by diligently presenting papers, ensuring that we debate motions. Minority Leader, from a tumultuous beginning, has done his bit, ensured that this House pulls from one side where the interest of the country is involved. Madam Speaker, sir, I think as we go for the festivities, and aware that this is a week where we celebrate the female gender, and generally we stand up against violence, I will request all of us to do what they can, not just in support of or to speaking against gender-based violence, but to ensure that out there we encourage our youth, that we work for this country. I know that my friend Senator Cheriot had a football match only last week, and many other leaders, I think, are having matches that bring together youth to speak to two things. One, Madam Speaker, is environmental conservation. I think that's an effort that we must all pull towards. But secondly, as we celebrate those who came ahead of us, let us look to skills and to qualities that will ensure that we serve as senators who deliver for this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker, sir.
Senator Methu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I also want to spare some few minutes to my colleagues. Honorable Speaker, I would want to first say that I'm very grateful to the people of Nyandarua who gave me an opportunity to come to this Senate. It has been a great session, especially for those of us who are here for the first time, because we have had a very, a very good time of learning and sharpening our skills in leadership. I've been particularly very, very, very happy as the Chairman Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources, because as a committee we've been able to process bills that have been assented to become law, Honorable Speaker. And we would want to first thank the party leadership, especially my majority leader, the Honorable Aaron Cheriot, who has always had our hands, especially those of us who are new legislators here, Honorable Speaker. He has been very, very, his humility is something that all of us would want to emulate, Honorable Speaker, because he's a very big person who works very small. So it is such a challenge, especially to those of us who become majority leaders in the future, Honorable Speaker. Finally, Honorable Speaker, allow me to laud all the colleagues who have been here. We've had our highs, we have had our lows, Honorable Speaker, but the fabric that has held us together, Honorable Speaker, including yesterday that we had a bipartisan issue, Honorable Speaker, when we are supposed to speak as a house, especially in regards to respect for this particular house, we've been able to hold together, we've been able to speak together, we've been able to defend our house, because, Honorable Speaker, there is no way we can be able to speak for the other Kenyans if we cannot be able to speak for ourselves, Honorable Speaker. So I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thank your office because you have been able to facilitate us the members, to do our duties. We would want to thank the Secretariat, the clerk of this Senate, and the whole team that serves in our in the Secretariat, including the Secretariat that serves in our committees, Honorable Speaker. I would want to finish there. I wish my colleagues Merry Christmas, Honorable Speaker. I wish them a prosperous New Year, Honorable Speaker. And I would also want to wish the people of Kenya, especially the people of Nyandarua that I represent here, Honorable Speaker, I would want to wish them a Merry Christmas, Honorable Speaker. I finally would want to say that I'm very happy to become a senator here. And if the people of Nyandarua are watching, I would want to ask them, let them not take this privilege from me, Honorable Speaker. I would want to continue serving them until that time that I feel that it is enough, Honorable Speaker. I thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your holidays.
Honorable Senators, I will extend the time. I'll use the discretion to extend the time by 15 minutes, so to allow everybody to speak. Senator Omtata.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. It has been a great experience for me to be in this House. I've learned more than I've taught. I've met my great friends like Majority Leader Cheriot, very, very eloquent and capable leader. I've met the indomitable lion from Nandi. I've met my longtime friend Karen. I've met I've met the bullfighter. I've met the deep state in Mundigi. It's been quite an experience. I've met Eddie Okech, reminds me of Olo Aringo, and many others. So it has been a pleasant time to be in this House. I've also learned a lot of what this House does, that it is extremely busy. You can hardly have time for anything else. And so I think that the whole day will be deserved to give us an opportunity to get back to our constituents and have the festive season with them, and also to be able to get recharged for the next session. So mine is just to say thank you to everybody whom I've met in this House, from the members to the support staff, to everybody. I think nobody has disappointed me, and I speak as a happy person. I've met my son, the Senator of Nyandarua, Senator Methu, is a great fellow. So I think it has been worthwhile, and I have been able to represent issues concerning Busia and the nation because I felt at home. I felt not intimidated by anything, and I will cut my speech short by wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I give the time to other people also to address the House. Thank you very much, Your Honorable Speaker.
Senator Mundigi.
Asante Mbi Spika, naunga mkono hii mambo ya kuahirisha kikao ndio tuende mfumo wa Christmas. Mimi wakati nikuja hapa najivunia leo kwa kipindi ya miaka mmoja nikuja nikakuta marafiki 67 maseneta na spika na pia wafanyikazi wale wanatusaidia wa Senate, makraka, masecretaries, na pia nikajifunza na majority senator wa Kericho na Segei, senator wa Nandi, na pia Omtata, na pia Mburu Fighter, na wale wengine wote, na Okech, Senator Okech kutoka Migori. Nimejifunza mengi. Kwa hivyo nashukuru, na pia nataka niambie watu wa Kenya, wakati uko hapa tuko na Azimio na Kenya Kwanza, lakini tukitoka nje tunakunywa chai pamoja. Nilikuwa kifikia itakuwa ni vita, lakini hakuna vita. Ya pili, naambia watu wa Embu County tuko na 4 sub counties, Mbeere North, Mbeere South, Manyata na Runyenje. Nampenda sana kwa sababu mlimpatia kura kwa watu 12 ambao walikuwa na kila kitu, lakini mimi sikuwa na chochote, lakini mkanipa kura zenu. Kwa hivyo kwa hii kipindi imebakia, nataka kuambia nyinyi watu wa Embu tuko pamoja, makanisa wote muendelee kuniombea niweze kuwa na nguvu ya kutetea nyinyi katika Senate. Ya mwisho ni kushukuru chama changu ambaye ni Democratic Party, ikiwa kwa Kenya Kwanza na rais wetu na deputy pia tunamuunga mkono tuweze kuwa pamoja. Ya mwisho ni kusema tuwe na Christmas njema na mwaka mpya. Hiyo ingine nikimalizia ni ile inakuja ni mambo ya kuwa happy Jamhuri Day, na pia nasema wale watu wanaenda Rwanda na wale walienda tuende kitu kimoja, na pia tuwe na mambo ya kushindana, tukuja tuwe mashujaa wako na nguvu. Asante Mbi Speaker, naunga mkono. Senator Mundigi, Embu County.
Senator Khalwale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to join the rest of our colleagues in wishing all of us well during the recess, and I want to just make 2 points. The first one is that we are very happy as the farmers of Kakamega, Western Province, and Western Kenya in the steps that the government is taking in stabilizing the sugar industry and the sugarcane planting adventure. Madam Speaker, I would like to urge colleagues to join us, senators from the sugarcane belt. We wish to promote the principle of shared prosperity every time there is a deficit in the sugar that is produced locally, Treasury now normally opens up for imported sugar. We want this shared prosperity to be applied this way. We amend the law so that 50% of imported sugar should be imported by outgrowers farmers organization. Mumia Sugar Company, Sony Sugar, Mohoroni, Butali Sugar, Chemelil, West Kenya, Miwani, and even the new Rift Valley factory. This will open way for shared responsibility. My final point, Madam Speaker, is that even as we celebrate, this week we have gone into mourning in our community because of two great leaders. The first one, I mentioned him here, Honorable Sifuna, but the second one is a small man, but a big man, from Randa village of Itenyi in Shinyalu. A great man has gone to rest. Julius Alekwa Amalemba. He is equably one of the greatest bullfighters of his generation. He will be buried over the weekend with all the galas of bullfighting. I want to invite colleagues, if you'll have time, there is a culture in our community called Shirembe. This will be one of the most epic functions that will take place at Mobendera in Shiranda, in Mranda Ward, to celebrate Julius Alekwa Amalemba. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Eddy.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. And I think that this has been a very serious year of opportunities and challenges in Senate. And those opportunities, I wouldn't have experienced them if you're not for the people of Migori County. And I want to thank the people of Migori County for trusting in me that I could be able to be a voice of representing them in this House. Indeed, sometimes the work that we do in this House, Madam Speaker, is very elusive, sometimes to the general public, but it's a lot of work. And in that same spirit, I want to take this chance to really appreciate our staffers in Parliament. Of course, led by the clerk, Nyegenye, in absentia. I hope that Mogere will receive this on behalf of the entire staffers of the Senate. It has been a lot of work that they have done. It takes a lot of work to do bills. It takes a lot of work to run committee meetings. It takes a lot of work to review these statements and engage stakeholders in different perspectives. We really, really do appreciate them. And in the spirit of what Senator Boni Alwale has said, I actually think that it's very important to critically look at this sugar industry. Our farmers have suffered enough, and I think that I want even to invite a more brave and bold move in that legislation, that the sugarcane industry should actually be profiled as a crop plant, food crop, so that this idea of profiling it as a cash crop is really putting difficulties in terms of tax and trade to sugarcane farmers. I hope that the tea farmers as well as the coffee farmers can be able to embrace, those who are in the House, to be able to make sugarcane a food crop, so that the trade can be good. But as I finish, Madam Speaker, I think one of the biggest opportunities also here is that people have got to discover themselves. Somebody like Methu was a little bit confused whether his father was Baichu from Meru, but now he has just realized that his father is actually the senator for Busia, Senator Mtata. So Methu must learn to trace his roots. But because majority is here, under the whip, I want to plead with you, majority whip and majority leader, that the place of Parliament, even at sometimes when it looks like we really are scared of facing the executive, the place of Parliament must be protected. I think that the Parliament has faced a lot of challenge because the executive are sometimes ignored our place and not prioritized us. And I think that the spirit is Parliament must be prioritized. We are going for Christmas without food in our mouth. We are going for Christmas without money in our
Senator Githuku.
Asante, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, ningependa nichukue nafasi niweze kusapoti mswada huu ambao umeletwa na kiongozi na kinara wa wengi katika bunge hili. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ninataka niseme ya kwamba mimi ni kati ya masenators ambao wameweza kupiga muhura wa kwanza katika seneta hili, na ninataka kushukuru kwa sababu nimesoma mengi kupitia kwa uongozi ambao umekuwa katika bunge hili. Lakini Madam Speaker, nataka niseme kwamba mimi ni kati ya senators ambao wamemaliza muhula huu akiwa na majonzi na masikitiko makubwa kufuatia shida na matatizo ambayo imekuwa ikikumba watu wangu. Mheshimiwa Speaker, saa hii tunapoongea watu wangu katika kaunti ya Lamu wamepata kilio kikubwa kwa sababu ya mauaji ya kiholela ambayo yamekuwa yakiendelea katika kaunti ya Lamu. Mheshimiwa Speaker, jambo hili limeleta aibu katika serikali yetu ya Jamhuri ya Kenya, na ningependa niseme ya kwamba serikali sasa inafaa iweze kutilia mkazo kuona kwamba hakuna tena mauaji katika kaunti ya Lamu itakayoendelea kuanzia sasa na kuendelea. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, tunaelekea msimu ambao ni wa Krismasi, msimu ambao Madam Speaker ni wa watu kusherehekea. Lakini sitaki kusema kwamba Lamu kuna furaha, kwa sababu saa hii tunapoongea kuna shida na matatizo kufuatia mauaji ambayo yamekuwa akipatikana katika kaunti yangu ya Lamu. Mheshimiwa Speaker, mafuriko pia ni jambo ambalo pia limeathiri watu wangu katika kaunti ya Lamu. Ningependa niseme ya kwamba serikali iweze kuangazia kwa kina shida na matatizo ambayo inakumba watu wangu wa kaunti ya Lamu. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, mimi niko na imani kwamba serikali ikiamua kwamba hakuna tena mauaji katika kaunti ya Lamu, hakutakuwa na mauaji. Tuko na serikali ambayo iko na uwezo, iko na kila kitu, na sasa natoa wito kwa serikali ya kwamba sasa kuendelea hatutaki tena kusikia mauaji ya kiholela katika kaunti ya Lamu. Madam Speaker, na ningependa pia vile serikali iweze kutuambia ni shida gani, ni matatizo gani inasababisha mauaji katika kaunti ya Lamu. Madam Speaker, niko na huzuni kubwa, niko na hasira kubwa kwa sababu ya shida na matatizo ambayo saa hii watu wangu wameendelea kupata. Nimeshukuru Madam Speaker, nasema ya kwamba watu wa kaunti ya Lamu ni wa Kenya kama wengine, walindwe kikatiba kwa sababu ni haki yao kulindwa pamoja na mali yao. Asante Madam Speaker.
Senator Cherarke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine will be very unupshot. I'm happy at least this first session. We have known each other now. I think we know where our weaknesses and strengths are as colleagues. I appreciate, Madam Speaker, because they have been diverse in unity in terms of thinking, argument. I know it has not been well all the time. We have had our differences. But I'm happy that we always converge a certain point of reasoning. But as Speaker, maybe 2-3 points so that support of the adjournment by the majority leader. I want to ask TAC to quickly confirm the GSS interns who are on contracts, Madam Speaker, because on 31st their contracts are expiring so that they can be transited to, there are more than 46,000, Madam Speaker. They can be transferred to permanent and pensionable and be able to have certain, because most of these are young people. Madam Speaker, even as we are to Form 1 selection, I want to ask the ministry through NEMIS to ensure that Form 1 selection, each and every child deserves to join Form 1 as we go into the new year. I know KCP has had its issues. We hope that the parliamentary committee will give us a way forward on what really happened to KCP results. Madam Speaker, even as we are to education reforms, we want to ask the presidential working team to liaise with parents and other stakeholders so that we can ensure we fix the education reforms going into the future. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the government on the issue of subsidized fertilizer. I hope by December, January, we shall be able to get 2,500 fertilizer so that we continue in ensuring that we plant our maize, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the other aspect I want to ask the government, I know the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, is in charge of agricultural reforms, especially on tea, sugar, coffee, and even the maize prices that we are getting 4,090 kilos per bag, Madam Speaker. I hope these reforms can be fast-tracked so that we live on our mantra of guarantee minimum returns going into the future. Even the sugar sector that my brother has talked about, we hope to see, because now Nandi is becoming a serious nucleus in terms of sugar cane production, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, which is close to my heart, is on the issue of MCAs. I want to assure members of County Assembly across the country that with the blessings of the President, we are likely to see more reforms, especially on financial autonomy, the welfare of MCAs, and War Development Fund going into the future. We look to working and ensuring that all the MCAs get the necessary ability and capacity going into the future. Finally, to the great people of this Republic and Nandi, I want to wish them all the best. Madam Speaker, I want to tell the people of Nandi, I shall not tire, I shall not retreat, I shall not surrender in pushing for ensuring that they get development, Madam Speaker. It is in the interest of the House that I have been sued, and I am ready to be taken to court for the benefit of the great people of Nandi, Madam Speaker. And I can assure them I will not be intimidated, either through courts of law or even through hooligans, through goons, and any other form, Madam Speaker. I shall live with the true spirit of Chelagat Mutai, Jean Maria Serone, and Koitalel Samoe to ensure the great people of Nandi continues to benefit from development, Madam Speaker, across the 6 sub-counties, and that will be a luta continua. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Hope to see everybody back.
Senator Hezana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I join my colleagues to pay special gratitude to God Almighty and my party, the ODM party, for an opportunity to be part of this honorable house, which has, for a good percentage, stood up to its name. I have gotten a grand opportunity to learn from some of the finest brains, like Senator Cherargei, you know, and I have also learned that what we used to see while we were out of this house is not exactly what happens. It's 50%. So I have also come to learn that there are a lot of people who preach water and drink wine and vice versa, which has been a thorough learning curve for me. I continue to learn in the coming year. I have been inspired a lot by the energy in this house, for example, by Senator Mundigi, and Cherargei, especially, who is always there. I completely underestimated his contributions and the power of influence he has for the youth in this country. Madam Speaker, I also like to wish Kenyans a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as we celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And I hope that just like me and Senator Medhu, the young senators, we do not lose hope in the quest for a patriotic country, a country that where we aim to fight for the rights of our people, regardless of whether we are shy, whether we are confident, or what. Most importantly is to put God first and our country first. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Cheptumo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I arise to support this motion for adjournment. And as I do so, Madam Speaker, let me thank the great people of Baringo County for giving me a chance to serve them in this house. Mr. Speaker, I served there as a member of parliament for 15 years. And to serve in Senate, Mr. Speaker, is really an experience, and I want to really thank people of Baringo for giving me a chance. Madam Speaker, this session we witnessed a lot of progress, and I want to thank our majority leader for helpfully leading the House, and even the leadership from the minority leader, Madam Speaker. I think we saw some very successful management of our affairs in the House. Madam Speaker, we also realize that we can disagree on matters, politics, and so on. But ultimately, when all is said and done, we remain an assembly of elected national leaders in this country, Mr. Speaker. And even when we disagree, finally we come together and decide matters that are beneficial to our country. I think it is a good virtue, Madam Speaker, that I want to encourage ourselves, even as we go for holidays and we come back, let us put our country first, we get united and move together in one unison. Madam Speaker, during this session, I had a chance to serve as the chair security, And Madam Speaker, I was able to come across a number of issues in the country. We went to Turkana during the Senate Mashinani, and were able to interact with the people of Turkana on matter security and many other counties, Madam Speaker, during this session. Madam Speaker, there's a big challenge on security in our country. And I want to call upon our government. I want to thank the head of state. He's been able to show a lot of political will to deal with the menace of cat rustling. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, my bill, my motion, which has been in the order paper for close to 3 months, unfortunately today, Madam Speaker, I'm unable to prosecute that motion, declaring cat rustling a national disaster and establishment of a special fund to compensate. I will do that, Madam Speaker, when we come back. Madam Speaker, let me conclude by saying that I want to wish all members Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And Madam Speaker, let us continue to preach peace. We preach unity for our country, even as we interact with our people during the holidays. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support the motion.
Senator Nyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I am very, very grateful for the opportunity to serve in this House as a senator and to represent the youth of Kenya, to represent the people of Nairobi in my capacity as a nominated senator of the UDA party. I have got a wealth of experience in the past 1 year. I have been able to bring statements to this House, the latest one being one to the Committee of National Security, where I happen to be vice chair, regarding the upsurge of a notorious habit called aluta activities that involve over-partying by the young people of Nairobi. And Madam Speaker, the work that we do in this House, I am a Christian, and I believe it is the work of God. The people we represent, the people who rely on us to pass these laws and to intervene for them, are people who have, we are their representatives, Madam Speaker. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the people of Nairobi for giving me great support, for making me their envoy here, and for always liaising with me and giving me their views so that I can represent them in this House. I want to wish them a Merry Christmas. I know times are hard. We don't have money. The economy is tough. But I want to tell them to hang in there, because the things that the plans the government is making are going to bear fruits in the long run, and we are going to be happy as Kenyans. And I believe when it is time for re-election for our president, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, it will be an exciting time for Kenyans to look forward to give him another term because of the fruits that will have borne by the steps that he's making. I also wish to implore on Senator Omtata and other people who are going to fight the government plans in court to sit and consider the intention of the government, the end of what the government is planning to achieve for its people. And let's not politicize everything. Simply because you do not support the government, you put bottlenecks in the government plans. At the end of the day, ultimately, it is your people who benefit from these steps that the government is taking. And thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Abbas, you have slightly less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues to support the postponement bill. And I want to thank the people of Wajir County for giving me this opportunity to represent them in this House. I think this is actually a prestige and a privilege for me to be here. And I will say thank you all. However, Honorable Speaker, as you're aware, for the last 2.5 months, the people of Northern Kenya have been having a lot of problems, especially because of the El Nino problems. A lot of floods, houses have been destroyed, crops that are ready for harvest was destroyed, roads are not passable, that people are not even able to access food. Up to now, the interventions from the government was so minimal. And it's very unfortunate that the people of Northern Kenya have been forsaken by the current regime. It's a very unfortunate situation. However, one thing I want to tell them is that however few we are, we may not have the big number to vote for them, but we are having the vote for the 50 plus 1. The plus 1 is ours, and it will always be needed to vote for the government of the day. And it is a high time people must change their thinking of the number of issues in terms of voting and all these things. One other thing, Madam Speaker, is that one thing is that this House actually represents devolution, the county issues. That, and the Kenyans are looking forward to see that, that this House becomes their savior. You know what is happening in the counties. I want to tell my colleagues, the senators, when they go home, when they go to the counties, they know there's a lot of misappropriation of funds, a lot of problems taking place. And I think it's a high time. As the chairman for devolution, I want to request all my colleagues that it's a high time that we must come to the support of the people of our in the counties, so that at least the resources, the minimal resources. I think we don't have much resources. The little resource that is available should be optimized and made use of it. With those few remarks, I want to wish everybody.
Honorable Senators, it is now 1:15 p.m. Time to adjourn the Senate, pursuant to Standing Order number 34-2A. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until Tuesday, 13th February 2024 at 2:30 p.m.